Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I picked up in the month of September. So, got a lot to go through, so I'll get straight into it. The first movie from Culture Shock is The American Scream, which was kind of a strange one. I like this, but it plays out more like a National Lampoon film. Like a comedy where they go on vacation, but they get to this town and it's kind of weird stuff going on, a few deaths involved, things like that. Pretty enjoyable, kind of 80s sort of comedy horror film. I just thought it was a bit sort of tonally off, but not too bad. I wouldn't rush to get it, but it was entertaining enough, and a nice release there from Culture Shock as well. Next up, I got Amityville 1992. I want to get some more of the Amityville sequels. This was a gift from 80s film fan. Him and Horror and Todge came round to mine for a movie night, which was awesome. Really want to do that again. And he gave me this when he came round. So thank you for that, Steve. Looking forward to checking that out. That's Amityville 1992. From Code Red. This was also from 80s film fan. This is the Blu-ray of Apartment on the 13th Floor, which is better known, at least to me, as Carnival Man, which I've always enjoyed. It's a pretty kind of slow burn horror film, but I thought it was pretty cool. So this is the alternative title, Apartment on the 13th Floor, and this has actually got a longer running time than my Carnival Man DVD, so I'll check this one out and just see what's in this version that's not in that DVD version. So yeah, again, thank you for that, 80s film fan. Really cool Blu-ray there. Right, okay, next up I picked up Attack of the Killer Donuts. Yes, this is actually a real horror film. Very, very silly. Not great. I was kind of hoping I would enjoy this one a bit more, because it's my kind of silly horror, but it wasn't great. I did kind of enjoy the scenes of the Killer Donuts jumping around and jumping at people and things like that, but it could have been a bit better. But as far as horror films about Killer Donuts are concerned, it wasn't too bad. Okay, next up, some extreme horror here from Toe Tag. Finally managed to get my hands on August Underground Morden. So if you're not familiar with this is like a found footage torture movie. Supposed to be really, really hard to watch. Apparently it makes even the most hardened of horror fans squirm in the seat. So of course I wanted to check it out. Not had a chance to do so yet, but I'll watch it at some point and see what it's like. Any extreme horror fans out there, if you've seen this, let me know what I can expect. But yeah, good to finally get that, 'cause it's not the easiest thing to find. Right, next up from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up The Birds 2. I did review this on my channel recently. This one surprised me. It was a surprisingly enjoyable film. Obviously not the sort of Hitchcockian classic of the first. It's very different. It's like a TV movie, almost a bit daytime soap opera-y in places. But I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, and the killer bird aspect of it was done rather well. So yeah, cool release there from Vinegar Syndrome. I like that one. Alright, next up, I picked up The Black Phone, which I was looking forward to watching. Gotta say, I didn't enjoy it. This one didn't do anything for me. Just didn't think it was all that good a film. I did like Ethan Hawke in it. I thought it was a really cool role of him to play, like sort of like a Silence of the Lambs-esque serial killer. And he wears that creepy mask and he abducts kids. And then this young kid that's been abducted, he gets like help from the ghost of the previously abducted kids. And they ring him up on this black phone in this room and give him like cryptic clues of how to survive. But I just didn't buy into it. First of all, I don't know why they didn't just tell him what to do and not be so cryptic. And yeah, I just didn't like the story. Yeah, didn't care for The Black Phone, unfortunately. But at least I've checked it out. Okay, next up, got some more crappy shark movies with Blood Bite. This is more of kind of a Deep Blue Sea ripoff, which I'm seeing more of now. I'm seeing less Jaws ripoffs and more Deep Blue Sea ripoffs. It takes place in like a underwater experimental complex, so where they're doing something for health or pharmaceutical reasons, and they've got these sharks, and the place is supposed to be 100% safe, and of course, you know, it's not. But this was really bad, really boring film. I struggled to get through this one, so not one that I would recommend, unfortunately. Okay, next up from Wild Eye, I picked up Creature Cabin, and I really enjoyed this. This is kind of like a Wild Eye attempt of sort of Evil Dead. This woman in this cabin, and she's attacked by demons and I think chainsaw wielding kangaroos and all kinds of crazy stuff. It was pretty good. One of Wild Eye's better movies. There's a bit like a rap face off at the end, which I didn't care for, but on the whole, I did enjoy Creature Cabin. Next up, I picked up some more extreme content, some more shockumentaries. Death Mixtape Volume 1 and 2. Now these feature some pretty horrific images on the front and back, so I'm not going to show these and upset anyone, but a couple of heavy hitters there for the shockumentary collection. Next up, this was interesting, from IFC. This is Devil's Pass, which is based on a really creepy, I think it's a Russian story of some expeditioners that went out and went missing, and then were found like all messed up, and they had the tongues cut out and they took the shoes off, and really weird stuff. No one knows what happened to them. And this is like a found footage film of some Americans retracing their steps, and it's pretty cool, pretty creepy stuff. I did like this one. Gets a bit crazy towards the end. It sort of loses a bit of believability when sort of things are revealed, and it gets a bit far out. But on the whole, I did enjoy Devil's Pass. It's a good found footage film. It's got some good creepy atmosphere, and I like that it's based on that real life, really weird incident that happened in Russia many years ago. So yeah, that was cool. Okay, next up, I grabbed a copy of Ex Machina. Love this film. I know it's had a 4K release recently, but I just wanted to get this. It's really good, more kind of sci-fi. But this in this one, this guy is invited to his, like, the CEO of the company that he works for is invited to his like beautiful condo in the woods, and he's working on an AI robot woman, and the young employee is asked to kind of look at it, see what he thinks, see if he thinks it's real enough, and they kind of almost develop like a bond over the course of the film. She's more and more human than what anyone thought, but it's complications arrive, and I don't know, existential questions are kind of asked from this one. It's a brilliant film. I highly recommend Ex Machina. Not full on horror, but a really great movie with this sort of cool robot AI aspect to it. Next up, I picked up Flatliners. Haven't seen this for a long time, but I remember really enjoying this one. I need to go back to this one and check it out, because yeah, it's a great movie. Good to watch this one again. So that's that one. Next up, from Vinegar Syndrome, I picked up Forgotten Jolly Volume 5. Can't believe they're on to the 5th one. I remember the first one coming out, but in this one, you get a white dress from Marielle, Tropic of Cancer, and 9 guests for a crime. I won't get them out. There are unboxing of this on YouTube, and I've got to get through these. But yeah, really nice set again from Vinegar Syndrome. I love these Forgotten Jolly sets. Not my favourite type of film, but I do tend to enjoy these ones. So yep, that's cool. Hopefully they'll do a 6th one. Next up, from Wild Eye, I picked up Freak. This was another okay one from them. Very just standard a kind of mutated killer in the woods. It's all done with practical and I think kind of like stop motion effects. So very undemanding killer in the woods kind of movie, but I enjoyed it. I love the artwork on that. Some of the best artwork from Wild Eye there. Really cool release from them. So that's that one. Next up, another crappy shark movie from the depths. I need to stop buying these terrible shark films. This one, to give it credit, it had a good plot behind it. It was this woman that was like traumatized by a shark attack, and she was getting haunted by a shark that was attacking her in her dreams and sort of as she goes about her daily business. So it kind of had a good excuse to show killer sharks coming from anywhere, like coming from the street, coming from the floor. It just wasn't all that good. It wasn't done very well, and it was pretty dull. Kind of a decent twist towards the end. Ooh, but yeah, on the whole, no, not very good. Another pretty weak shark film. Right, next up from Film Detective, I picked up Giant from the Unknown, which is a 50s monster movie, which are one of my sort of favourite subgenres. This one wasn't great, unfortunately. Pretty poor stuff. Particularly quite cringy in the dialogue and things like that. And also the monster in this was pretty weak. I think it's like this conquistadorian soldier that they unearth and he comes back to life. But he's just kind of like this guy with a bit of dirt on him wandering around. So yeah, one of the more weaker 50s horror movies, unfortunately. But nice release from Film Detective. I can't think if it's 4K. I think it's a 4K scan, not a 4K release. But it looks great. I can give it that. Okay, next up from Full Moon, I picked up The Gingerdead Man, which I've never seen. Always wanted to see this one. And this one didn't disappoint. This was a lot of fun. Just kind of standard Full Moon silliness. I really like the look of the gingerbread man. Made me laugh. Gary Busey was cool as the killer, and then the subsequent voice of the ginger dead man character. So yeah, had a lot of fun. Pretty lowbrow, Full Moon entertainment, but really good film. Okay, next up from Wild Eye. This is the Raw and Extreme line. I picked up Gore Grind. Which is, I think, is a bit of like an anthology. Apparently it's like all sort of snuff type anthology videos, not real stuff obviously, but made out to be. And then I've got Gore Grind 2 as well, so I'll go at them at some point. It was Gore Grind 2 that I saw first. I love that cover art, so prompted me to get number 1 and number 2, so I'll give these sort of gore anthologies a chance at some point. So that's those two. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome from the VSA line, I picked up The Grave, which I really enjoyed. This was a surprisingly good movie, actually. Probably the best one that I've got from the VSA line. This is like a 90s film, but not kind of like hip 90s, it's more backwoods Southern Gothic 90s feel of these escaped convicts doing everything they can to find this loot in this grave. But they've got to go through the motions of finding it. It's a bit more of like a crime film, but it is quite dark and it's got a macabre feel behind it. And then, as I say, I really love the Southern Gothic feel of this one. Great cast as well. Craig Sheffer, Keith David, Eric Roberts, a few people in this one. So yeah, The Grave was a pretty good movie, pretty underrated film. Okay, next up, I was given a copy of The Hands of Orloff. This is from my friend Darren. Thank you, Darren. He brought this round, thought I might want it, which he was correct about. So nice bit of silent cinema here to add to the collection. Not watched it yet, but I'll give it a chance soon. I think this is a Spanish release. But yeah, Hands of Warlock, thank you for that. Okay, next up from who's this from? I can't remember. Dark Rift Films, I think, is Hard Rock Nightmare, which was a really cool movie. This is an 80s movie. It's about a heavy metal rock band who are besieged by a werewolf. And if that doesn't sell it to you, you're probably watching the wrong channel anyway. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Really cool 80s werewolf film. I love the heavy metal aspect. The music in it was cool. A bit of a twist to the story as well. Yeah, just a really fun, enjoyable 80s werewolf movie. So, cool. Okay, next up, I did show this off quickly. I'll give this one a shout out. This is the Horror of Blood Moon. I shouted this one out as, I think, the rarest movie in my collection. There's only 10 copies of this available. I was a bit mean to it when I first spoke about it. I said it was absolutely terrible, and it is, but it's a gore film, and as a gore film, it was really good. It did deliver on that front, and the music in it was pretty cool. Everything else about it is garbage, but it was a good effort in the kind of the areas that matter, and nice to get this in the collection with it being so rare. So that's that one. Right, next up from Scream Factory, I picked up The House That Jack Built, which I've not had a chance to watch yet, but I really want to check this one out. I've been intrigued about this for a long time. It's I think Matt Dillon, I think he's some kind of serial killer, but it's a pretty long film as well. It's over 2 hours, so I just need to find the time to watch this. But heard some good stuff about it, and I'm really wanting to check it out. So hopefully I'll get round to this one soon. That's The House That Jack Built. Next up from Mondo Macabro, I picked up The Inheritors. Don't know much about this one. I've seen it around on websites and things quite a bit. So I was just around somewhere, and so I'll pick it up, I'll check it out, see what it's like. Not had a chance to put it on yet, but I'll give it a chance soon. That's The Inheritors. Right, next up from Alpha Video, I picked up It's Alive. This is not the Larry Cohen Kill a Baby movie. This is a different one. This is from 1968 and is a pretty awful monster movie. The monster on the cover looks cool. It was the cover that sold it to me, but it's awful. The transfer's garbage. You can hardly see what's going on, and you don't see the monster till right at the end, and it's just for a few seconds. So very underwhelming. I'm glad I've got it for the cover. The cover's pretty cool, but this is complete like mystery science theatre material. It's that kind of film. So yeah, I don't recommend sitting and watching this one, but yeah, cool looking creature, although we only see it for a few seconds. Next up from Blue Underground, I picked up Justine. So Jess Franco having a go at the Marquis de Sade sort of stories. It's got Klaus Kinski in it. I'll watch anything with Klaus Kinski, and Jack Palance as well. So should be interesting, if nothing else. And these are really nice releases from Blue Underground. So yeah, I came across this at some point in the month and just thought I'll grab that while I see it. So we'll give this one a watch soon. Okay, next up I picked up Lovely Molly, which I don't know much about. I've been recommended this though a couple of times by my viewers to give it a watch. I think it's pretty creepy stuff, so I'm looking forward to doing so. It's got some good reviews. I've heard some good things about it, so I'm hoping this will be a pretty cool movie. So good to finally get this one in the collection. Okay, next up is another shockumentary, Mundo Gore. Again, really brutal looking stuff. I don't want to show this and upset anyone, but yeah, another one for the shockumentary collection. Next up from Scorpion, I picked up Monster Dog, which was a pretty cool film, but not what I was expecting. So I thought this would be like a an 80s American sort of suburban film with killer dogs running around. It's actually an Italian film, and starring Alice Cooper. He's pretty cool in it, but everyone in the film, including Alice Cooper, is dubbed. So they all have American accents redubbing. I get like the old Italian film, which you've got American actors redubbing, but everyone's voice is different, including Alice Cooper's, which threw me off a little bit. So yeah, it's an Italian film. It's directed by Clyde Anderson, who I mostly know for one of the zombie sequels, Zombie 3 or 4, something like that, and it feels very much like one of those films. So yeah, interesting movie, pretty cool Italian killer dog film. I would say Alice Cooper was good in it, but like I say, his voice was not his, so it was a bit strange. Pretty cool monster that you see at the end. So yeah, different to what I thought, but I did enjoy it, and I wanted to see Monster Dog for a while, so good to get that one. Next up from Gator Blade Films, I picked up Naked Cannibal Campers. This was a low budget fun film. These guys go to this cabin in the woods, and they hook up with these women who seem pretty cool, but they are like devil worshipping cult women that kill them and eat them and things like that. Pretty much what it says on the cover with this one. I enjoyed it. It was some low budget silliness, pretty undemanding stuff. So yeah, that was all right. Next up from Visual Vengeance, who seem to have just come onto the scene and are putting out lots of cool releases. I picked up the Necro Files, which is some crazy shot on video horror of this kind of zombie going around killing people, and there's I think a couple of detectives after him, and inexplicably this plastic baby that is flying around. I'm not kidding. Plastic baby flying around making screeching noises that's trying to stop him as well. It's absolutely stupid. It's crazy. If you like shot on video, you probably will like this. It's crazy and stupid enough to be entertaining, and there's some decent gore in it as well. But yeah, really nice release from Visual Vengeance. I need to get more stuff from them. So yeah, not too bad. Good to finally check that one out. And like I say, if you're into shot on video, I think you'll get a kick out of that one. Next up is Necromancia, which was a weird film, very weird, dark, indie type movie. I think it's described on the front as a cross between Saw and Hellraiser, which I very much agree with. I can't say I enjoyed it all that much. It just didn't do a lot for me. Very dark, very gritty, very grimy looking film. It deals with some kind of interesting out there concepts of kind of hell and purgatory and sort of the thresholds of pleasure and pain and those kind of Hellraiser-like topics. But yeah, I wasn't too keen on this one, but it does get good reviews, so maybe other people would enjoy it more than what I did. Okay, next up from is this RLJ Films, I picked up Off Season. This one was okay, nothing special, but it was alright. It's this woman, she goes to this isolated island because her deceased mother, her grave's been destroyed, so she's got a bit of business to take care of. But when she gets there, everybody's really weird, and there's some weird stuff going on, some weird interactions, and yeah, you just know that things are not quite right, and it kind of goes from there. I won't reveal anything more than that. But yeah, I thought it was okay. It's got a bit like a kind of a Wicker Man, sort of Shutter Island kind of vibe to it. I thought it'd be a bit of a comedy. I don't know why. I thought it might be more humorous, but it's not. It's played straight. So nothing incredible, but it was decent enough. And I quite like the premise of I like the premise of people going somewhere and you can sense that something's not quite right. It did that pretty well. Next up is Satanic. Not had a chance to watch this yet, but it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty creepy. So yeah, I'll give this one a watch soon and see what it's like. Next up, I picked up Sinister II. This was a gift from Popcorn and Horror. It sent me a few other things actually. I've put them on the shelf, but one of them was Sinister II. And I watched this with a friend of mine. We both enjoyed it. Didn't think it was anywhere near as good as the first Sinister, but it had some creepy moments in it. I would like to have seen the character in it more. Is it Bagul or whatever his name is? You didn't really see him much. It was it was carried by these kind of ghost children that I didn't particularly like. They were a bit annoying, but yeah, not too bad. It was creepy enough. So good to finally check out Sinister 2. Thank you, Popcorn and Horror, for sending me that as well as the other things. Right, okay. Some full moon stuff here, which I've wanted to see for ages. Finally managed to get a copy, and it's Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, which is just a really fun, take your brain out full moon film from the 80s, of these kind of two women going through space, and I think they crash land on this planet, and they have to kind of survive. They're sort of chased and tracked down by monsters and evildoers and things like that. It's really fun, really just fun, silly 80s action creature horror film. So good to finally check that one out. Next up from Shudder, I picked up Slacks, which I did do a review early on in the month. I did enjoy this, but I thought it could have been a lot better. I thought they could have done more with it, and I thought it could have been a lot more funny for what it was. So it was pretty cool. It had some good moments in it. I liked the idea of a killer pair of trousers, killer pair of pants. that was fun. Yeah, they could have done more with this one. Okay, so next up, so I got, as I say, Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, and also at the same time I picked up Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Arama, I believe is the full title. Again, this was a fun kind of 80s movie, set in like a bowling alley, I think, with the goofiest creature I've ever seen, this little hand puppet creature with a very silly laugh. I didn't enjoy it as much as what I thought I would have done. It wasn't as good as Slave Girls, and yeah, I just didn't get as much out of it as what I'd hoped. But glad to finally check it out, because it's a film I've wanted to see for a long time. I've always been intrigued with that title, and I do like my full moon movies. But yeah, not one that I thought was all that great compared to some of the others. Okay, next up, I picked up Spine Chiller, which was a pretty cool film. Good time to get this. This is one of these kind of like Halloween autumnal looking films, and this is an anthology of just some different stories going on around the Halloween season. Very similar to the Witching season and 1031 and Tales of Halloween, that kind of thing. If you like those movies, check out Spine Chiller. It's pretty cool. I did enjoy that one. Okay, next up, I'm going to sound silly, I think, but I picked up, I guess, Don't Say It, Hiss It, which is a killer snake film from the 70s. I've wanted to see it for a long time and finally got it. When it finally gets going, it's pretty cool. It's this scientist messing around with snake stuff, and I think a guy gets bit or he injects some serum and he slowly starts to turn into a snake monster. That was pretty cool, but you've got to get through about an hour of dreariness and nothingness before anything happens, which was a bit of a drag. But the main sort of killer snake creature bit towards the end was pretty cool. But as I'm sure you know, I'm a big fan of the killer animal 1970s killer nature films, but I've got to say this is one of the weaker ones. I won't be returning to this one, but I'm glad I finally checked it out. It's pretty cool. Okay, next up, another one from Visual Vengeance. I picked up Suburban Sasquatch. So I think this is another crazy shot on video type horror movie, Sasquatch movie. Not had a chance to check it out yet, but I do love my Bigfoot Sasquatch films, so I'm hoping I'll get some enjoyment out of this one. It looks pretty fun, and I've seen a few people pick these releases up, and they usually say they're pretty fun films. So yeah, I'm hoping to enjoy Suburban Sasquatch when I get around to it. Next up from Vestron, I picked up Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat. I never heard of this one until Vestron put it out, which was quite a while ago. I've been on the fence for a while, but I saw it cheap, so I thought I'll get it in and see what it's like. Not watched this one yet, but again, I've heard good things about it, so it'll be good to watch this one. And like I say, I know nothing about it, so it'll be good to kind of go into a film that I've got no knowledge of and see what it's like. Okay, next up I picked up the remake of the Toolbox Murders. I love the original. Haven't seen this one since it came out, which was about 2004, and I didn't like it, but I found this in a charity shop for like 50p. So, I thought, well, it's you can come with me, so I'll check this out again. I'll reappraise it, see if I like it anymore second time around. Hopefully I might do. Oh gosh, right, next up I picked up Tusk, which was absolutely just shockingly crazy film. Oh gosh, I'm still getting my head around this one. This crazy old man who turns this guy into like this walrus monster. It's really weird. It's like a nautical version of the Human Centipede. And it's not as disgusting as that film, but it's probably even more crazier. This is absolutely bonkers. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So yeah, Kevin Smith movie. Johnny Depp's in it, as well as a few other people. Justin Long is the unfortunate young guy that gets turned into a walrus. But my God, this was a crazy movie. Other than like the Human Centipede, I've not seen anything like this. One of the most bizarre films I've seen. But it was good in like a kooky kind of way. Next up, one that I'm kind of late to the party on, but finally grabbed a copy of VFW. Heard good things about this. I thought it was good. Didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. I heard that this one had like a big John Carpenter vibe about it, which I do get. Sort of the look and the feel, sort of the music and things like that. It's a bit like an Assault on Precinct 13 type film of these old guys fighting off these drug addicts in a bar. I liked the cast, and I liked how they used these old timers, sort of grizzled veterans, to fight off the drug dealers. I'd like to see more films like that with the older characters doing their thing. So yeah, VFW was not bad. It was an enjoyable watch. Okay, next up from SRS. I cannot stop with the bad shark movies. This one is Virus Shark. Another kind of deep blue sea ripoff in this research laboratory. And I can't even remember now. I think there's a shark that gets a virus or gives a virus. And it sort of goes around the scientists and it turns them into like these zombie creatures like that. Pretty terrible. I think, I can't even remember it. I think it had some pretty cool practical effects. The acting was garbage. Overall it was garbage, but some of the funny, silly creature bits saved it. I don't know. It's I forgot it already. Next up from Tartan Asian Extreme, we have Whispering Corridors. So one of these like Asian ghost stories. Not had a chance to check it out, but it looks pretty creepy. These movies always have a pretty dark kind of atmosphere to it. So yeah, I'm hoping this will be a pretty good watch when I get round to it. Next up, I picked up X, which was a mixed bag for me. I certainly things about it that I liked. I love the 70s feel to it. It's very, very similar in feel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I thought they did a great job of capturing that 70s grindhouse feel. Didn't care too much for the story and like the old timers sort of killing off these younger people. It just didn't do a lot for me. Wasn't interested in them. Just didn't care for it. But I think there's a sequel now called Pearl, so I will check that one out because it did have enough going for it. It was a good film. Definitely elements to it that were really good. Just, yeah, not a great one for me. But yeah, not bad. And then finally, from Scream Factory, and I think this was a Hammer film, I picked up X the Unknown. I always like to get some Hammer in when I can, and these Scream Factory releases are always really good, so I'm looking forward to checking out some old school Hammer with X the Unknown. So that's everything that I've got this month, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's a long video, so thank you for watching. As always, let me know what you think of the films that I've got. Any that you like, any that you don't like, let me know. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.